What's up, guys? Again, I'm back. It's been a long time. I'm back at CCA from break, and we're doing our last chapel of the semester. It's Christmas break next week for us, and we're glad that we have a long break, spend time with our families, and eat a lot. Right now, we're doing our chapel, so stay tuned and do not miss it. All right? Thank you.
Mr. McAvally, will there be a closing prayer if we have a teacher by?
You're really in the mic, you know. You're at the mic. You're supposed to talk out the mic.
I doubt it. I'm just singing like I sing like Bing Crosby. I don't want to be singing. I am. Yo, okay, that was a plan. I am. Yeah, now.
to a place unexpected. Would you believe after all we project? A child in a manger. Holy and small, the weakest of all, unlikely and few, wrapped in his mother's shoulders, the child. Is this who we waited for?
pray us out. God, I thank you for this wonderful opportunity to celebrate your birth and especially be with our fellow classmates, friends, and these people are kind of like family. And it makes me sad that this is all my last Christmas year with these people, all of the seniors last Christmas year. And I pray that we won't take the school for granted, or you for granted, or any of this, or your birth especially, and your death on the cross that saved us all. In spirit, and I pray. Amen.
Courage can call you to do some crazy things, right? That's not a Hollywood video. That's an actual event that happened in the late 1980s when there was an uprising in China of pretty much young people who were saying we've had enough of an oppressive government and we're going to protest and see if we can fight for change. And so the government sends out tanks to squelch the uprising, and this man, forever known as Tank Man, stands in front of a whole line of tanks. And so he was the courage, the symbol of courage to a whole generation. And so Paul's been calling us to a life of courage, and we've been talking about this armor that we're supposed to put on. And so we talked about the belt of what?
Truth.
The belt of truth, and the feet shod with the preparation of the gospel. And we talked about the breastplate of, and the shield of, and the helmet of, and the last piece is the sword of the Spirit. And so I want to talk to you just a few minutes about what this sword represents. What does it mean when Paul says, take up the sword of the Spirit? Because he tells you to put on the whole armor. And by the way, it is optional. Like, you don't already have this on, like you're supposed to purposely do this in your own life. And so each one of us individually has to make the decision, are we going to be a part of this battle? Are we going to be a part of the fight? And how many of you know people who are fighting the battle well? Do you know anybody in your life? Maybe it's a friend, or maybe it's a grandparent, or maybe it's somebody at church or a pastor that's fighting this battle well. Are they an encouragement to be around? I mean, just being around them, doesn't it make you excited about living your faith out and being encouraged and more bold? How many of you have watched one of those movies where, the armed forces are pinned down in the foxhole, and somebody finally gets enough of it and he stands up and runs across in the face of danger and flying bullets, and then everybody gets up and starts running across in the face of danger because one guy stood up and made a difference. And so courage can be very contagious like that. And Paul has told us to take the Spirit, the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. And so if you think about the life of Jesus, for example, and an event in his life where he had been in the wilderness for 40 days and without food, and the devil comes to him and says, here's some bread. And you remember what his response was? Man shall not live by bread alone, but by what? But by every word that comes from the mouth of God. That's the fight right there. See, Jesus was fighting the battle. He had the Word of God, which is his sword, to fight this battle. The battle is not against flesh and blood. You're not my enemy. And it's not some unbeliever that's my enemy. We're not supposed to go out and slay people with the Word of God. We're supposed to fight this enemy who is very much interested in destroying us, hates us, and wants to discourage us. We're supposed to fight him with the Word of God in our hearts. So in Hebrews, the writer of Hebrews says this, "For the Word of God is alive." It's not just words on a page. It's alive and active. So it's making a change in you. It's doing something in you. "Sharper than any double-edged sword. It penetrates even to the dividing of the soul and spirit," places that no man can go. "Joints and marrow. It judges the thoughts and attitudes of the heart." So why do we have the Word of God? Because it's the thing that guides our hearts. It guides our minds. It gives us direction. So that when we hear it, we learn it, we memorize it, it's in our hearts, so that when we face those situations where somebody's trying to get us to go a different direction, the Word of God speaks and says, "No, go this way." And when we face those times when we are up against a real challenge, we've got something very solid to stand on. So the Word of God is His sword for us. In all of history, the symbol of surrender has been, even in modern times when there's modern tanks and planes and bombs, the symbol of surrender is to hand over your sword. And so what the devil wants to do, what the enemy wants you to do, is to hand the sword over. It wants to discourage you from following after the Word. And so how does he do that? He tempts you to stray and to go some other direction. When you know the Word says, this is how you're to live your life. When you know the Word says, no, go this way, not that one. The devil comes and says, tempts me to hand my sword over, to surrender. And that's the battle you're going to fight all your life. Am I going to carry, am I going to put this armor on and carry this sword and make it real in my life and stand boldly and strong? Or am I going to lay my sword down? You guys in here are juniors and seniors, right? You are not very far off from really living this on your own. You're still kind of under your parents' authority. You're still kind of under their oversight. They're still helping you with their decisions. You're not very far off from being on a college campus or in a place of business or married with kids. Maybe, hopefully a little further off.
Yeah.
But really, guys, the temptation becomes stronger and stronger to lay your sword down. So I would encourage you, to put on the whole armor of God, to store this word in your heart, to be ready to fight this battle. And when you see your friend lay his sword down, pick it up and say, no. Hand it back to him and say, let's keep going. Right? Be an encouragement to one another. Be strength to one another, because we need one another. God has given us the equipment to fight this battle. It's not going to be easy. He didn't call us to a costume party. He didn't say, put all this armor on. We're going to a costume party. No, we're not going to an ice cream social. It's not going to always be easy. There's going to be joy and there's going to be peace in it, but there's going to be struggle and decisions made as to whether you stay in it or not. Let's have a word for everybody. Father, thank you for your word, that you've given it to us as a stronghold, that you've given it to us to guide our lives, that it's alive and active. It's not just words on a page or sermons out of a book. It's alive in us and active to change us, to mold us, to shape us into the image of your Son, and to direct our hearts and lives every moment of every day. I pray we would each one of us individually would commit to carrying this sword and honoring you in the way that we live out our lives. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Merry Christmas.
That's it, y'all. All right. What's up? That's it. So, see ya. Okay. Travel is, it was alright. So, well, I think
YouTube.
You're not streaming.
See ya, bye. See